Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Chris, and today we're working on the iPad with this diagram, which is called the back on track process. And the back on track process is exceptional because it keeps you one step ahead. Now, this is important for intuition. It's really important for intuition. If you are stressed, as we talked about in the thinking and the listening video in the last section, if you're stressed, you are not going to have intuition. You're going to have anxiety, you're going to be dealing with memory, you're going to have bad habits. So in order for us to evolve and to stay ahead of the curve and therefore not be stressed at work and therefore do as much as we possibly can at work in the shortest possible time, what we need to do is to be able to manage ourselves daily and stay ahead of stress. And this is the mark of great leadership. I really don't mind how you define leadership in your world. In mine, it's one step ahead. It's one step ahead of those you lead. When I used to go in the Himalayas, I would take people up. And as you go in the Himalayas, you acclimatize. If I'm not acclimatized ahead of my group, then I'm in as much trouble as they are. So I used to go up for 2 weeks before my groups arrived, acclimatize, come back, and be available to help them. So I think this is what we need to be doing in business. We need to be acclimatizing ourselves so we're available to our team. In other words, a stressed leader is not a leader at all. They're a follower. So let's go through this back on track process. It's called the daily power hour. It takes half an hour. So I called it a daily power hour because it sounds better than a daily half an hour. Let's have a look. The first step in this process is to understand there are 7 steps. And the most important thing about 7 steps is that you do all of them. They don't have to be in sequence, although I'd recommend in a sense to prioritize them in sequence. In other words, letting go comes first, magnetize comes second, biophilia comes third, self-worth comes fourth, VIP comes fifth, evolve comes sixth, and results come seventh. If you jump around this thing, it's very likely that you'll get out of sequence. But after a while, as you know, exercises become habits, and this conversation won't be necessary. Let's look at them all. I'll take you through one by one. The first one, letting go, is really important. It's really important for me because I think what holds people back in their vision is always what they're holding on to. And we hold on to our old ways of doing things, our old beliefs, our old judgments, our old expectations, our old ideas and ideals, and our old thoughts. And therefore, it all adds up to one topic, our old emotions. If a person is reacting, let's say a person has a vision to be a world champion, and you say, put your shoes at the door tidily, and that person reacts to that. Their vision is to be a world champion. Their reaction is to something quite trivial, like put your shoes at the front door, or don't forget to leave your cup on the sink. The things we react to determine the degree to which we can live our vision. So if we're reacting to, a local issue, which is who parked in front of my house, and we're saying that we're going to bring our vision to a global level, the odds are that it won't happen. And you'll notice that as people get bigger in leadership, they start to smile more at what other people frown about. So managing your mood or managing what you react to in life becomes a huge part of whether or not you're able to live your vision, and therefore whether or not you're able to tap into your intuition. Your intuition will be blocked by stress. So if I, for example, am sitting here today talking to you on this video and I'm stressed about the wind blowing or the car beeping or whatever's going on in the hallway or whatever, if I'm stressed about local stuff and I'm talking to you about global stuff, then the talk about global stuff is rhetoric because I'm reacting to local. So we must be operating at a level at least greater than our vision. So if I have a vision of a nice family, I need to be operating at least at a community level. Otherwise, my reactions keep bringing me down and sabotaging my vision. So the letting go process is, for me, foundation principle number one in all of this. What are you reacting to? Can you see the two sides of it? Can you evolve past it? That's a learning experience. It takes a while to learn how to do this, but in the end, you can do it very, very fast. You can see the benefit of drawback, you can see the drawback of benefit, and quickly evolve through things and make sure you keep growing and growing in line with what your expectations are in your vision. It also tells you what to worry about, because if you worry about local stuff and you're expecting to live in a global world and have a global vision, that's just not going to happen. And this is step one in intuition, being able to free up your intuition to resonate with the vision that you have, whatever it is. The second part of this is to recognize that your health, your physical body is not just your physical body. It's a machine. And this machine is quite dumb. It seeks pleasure, avoids pain. It wants to be filled with dopamine. It wants to be filled with cortisol. And therefore it'll seek pleasure, avoid pain at all cost. That's its primary function. That's its animal, let's call it our animal instinct of the physical body. It's not built to look good. It's not built to lift heavy weights. It's not built there to do anything else but serve you. But it serves you in a beautiful way, and that is it will seek pleasure, avoid pain. The trouble is its definition of pleasure and pain may not be causation for what you're looking at in your vision. So when you trust your intuition around your diet, and you trust your intuition around your exercise program, or you trust your intuition around your mobility or your time to go to bed, you are really trusting your body, and you're not trusting your intuition. You're trusting your body's appetite for pleasure. And that's not trustable, because it defines pleasure short-term, medium-term, long-term. And it's really important to dictate to your body what is healthy for it, rather than to let it run the ship. So this second stage of evolving your body is about getting some level of control over the cellular health of your physical being. And it's a daily exercise to make sure you program yourself for alignment between what your body is working on and what your mind is thinking about. So that's one negative for the world of intuition. The third stage is environmental. Too many of us aspire to greatness, but forget that the environment in which we live is the core, is the key to determining the affirmation that's going through our brain. And so what it's important here is to start managing your environment. It's not just biophilia, which I think is so important, which is our attachment and our productivity caused by being in the vicinity of nature. It's what goes on around us at our desk, what goes on around us in our clothing, what goes on around us in our tidiness, what goes on around us in our to-do list, what goes on around us. What goes on around us is the primary influence of what goes on within us. So when I'm working with youth at risk, or people who are in rather desperate circumstances, which I'm sure is not you, I change the environment first. If I'm working with an organization that's in struggle, I change the environment. I change their logos, I change their uniforms, I change the way the desks are laid out, I change the way that they sit, the way they stand, the way they walk, talk. I change the environment. And with that environmental change, I get a softening of the mind and an availability to consider different ways of being and working. So stage 3 is the environmental topic. Stage 4, hard work is bad management. As you evolve, as you start to live your vision, as you start to do bigger and bigger things in the world, what you do during the day has to change. Prioritizations have to change. And if your priorities don't change on a daily basis, something's wrong. Now, I know we all have values, your intrinsic and extrinsic values. So there are things that you like working on, and there are things that really turn you on and things that turn you off. They're your values. And there are things that are demanded of you to get where you want to go, like getting up early or delivering your tax form at the end of the year or doing whatever it is, filling out your expense reports. And if you can't link your values to the things that are expected of you, then you're in big trouble, because now you're going to say, I want to do what I want to do, but it may not be the way you're remunerated, nor may it be the steps you need to take to get you where you want to go. So understanding your personal values is self-awareness. Understanding where you're going is other awareness, and linking the two is called inspiration. So understanding your priorities in terms of both what you value and what you like and what gives you an emotional buzz doing it, and what others like and what others value and what others will remunerate you for. Understanding the link between these two becomes key to a daily process of staying on track. The next step is step 5. Uncertainty grows when we think, or we have a perception that our intuition starts to pick up that we're not on the right path. And this is where intuition becomes the most sacred of things. Your intuition will guide you in terms of your vision. And so if you're starting to slip in if you're holding on, if you're not doing your magnetism, your cellular growth, if you're not doing stage 3, your environmental, and you're not on priority, your intuition will tell you that you're not living your vision. And this 5th step, I think, is where the intuition clicks in and starts to make champions out of champions. And what it does, it basically says, it's a self-reinforcing positive affirmation. I am, through the intelligent approach from my daily life, on track to the vision. And this reinforcement, this self-reinforcement, becomes a very powerful asset to a person. The next stage is stage 6. We tell ourselves a story. I'm not good at this, or I'm good at that. We get profiles that say I'm strong here and I'm weak there. But these profiles and these stories are very much to the moment. They're very much about how we're living right now, in this moment, in this zone of time. But as time moves on and we grow, our self-talk must grow too. We can't say we are the same person we were last year. Cosmetically, maybe we might be different. Structurally, we might be different. Values, we won't be different. Performance, we will be. And so we need to talk to ourselves as you would not have a coach who was with you in primary school telling you the same things you are at university. They would not talk to you in the same language that you talk to a child in, so that things are very clear and simple for them, is not how you talk to a university student, so things are very clear and simple to them. I remember in my junior school, they showed us, we used to have plastic balls in the days before, not plastic balls, I don't mean that, I mean balls made of plastic. And we had them joined together by little pieces of straw. And these formed atoms. And they said, oh, this is what an atom looks like. There is a proton, electron, and a neutron. And we go, oh, wow, that's interesting. I got to high school and they said, well, actually, we weren't telling you the truth. Inside each proton, electron, and neutron, there are other things. And you go, oh, so they're not solid. No, they're not. And the joins that they join together are not fixed. They're elastic. Oh, my God. And then I got to university and they said, well, photons of light make up all the little particles, but they aren't really true either, because there's quasars inside photons. And you go, my goodness, will you please get to the truth? But you can only be delivered information at the level of which you're ready for it. And this is the most important thing about self-talk. You need to change your self-talk constantly and evolve it as you evolve in your career and your work. So finally, after all this, results. And I think it's a little bit where people slip, and that is to say, action. At the end of the day, action and results are the only real truth. And if you're not achieving your results and you're not getting a change of behavior, and that behavior is not manifesting in the results you're asking for, you have to go back and say, where did I slip in the other 6 areas? This is Chris. You have a great day. Bye for now.